friends, it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus. Today I'm going to take you along with me as I incorporate these beautiful pages into this journal I've been working on. If you didn't see the last video, this is the unintended Valentine's Day journal I have been working on. I will include the link to the tutorial for this cover above. My intention was to create some easy hot glue gun art and put some aluminum foil over it. And I thought roses and hearts, yeah, easy enough to create with the hot glue gun. Let me get some aluminum foil on that, and we'll create this kind of etched metal look, which I absolutely love. And yes, it quickly evolved into a Valentine's Day journal. This is the removable bookmark tassel we made. I will include the link to the tutorial above for this as well. I absolutely love this. Look how decked out this tassel is. So, in order to move along and get working on this journal, we have to bind these beautiful pages in. I will show you today what I think is the most efficient way to do so. So come along with me. We're going to get these puppies in so we can start decorating our journals, which, let's face it, everyone's favorite anyways. Okay, friends, so first thing we need to ask ourselves is, what is the purpose of this journal? If the purpose is primarily writing, you're definitely going to want to ensure you include enough papers that people can write on, enough writing room when you're creating your embellishments. Maybe you're making postcards. That's one of my favorite ways to add additional writing space. That will also, at least to me, for me, help me determine how bulky I want my journal. If this is going to be primarily a writing journal, I think it's much easier to write in a journal that lays flat, obviously. So that will help you determine how many pages to put in your journal, how heavily you embellish it, etc., etc. So once you've determined the primary purpose of your journal, it's time to start choosing pages. Okay, so first things first, what I like to do is create a template page size. So I basically will know exactly which of my pages will fit into the journal and which will need cut down without having to pick up my cover and measure out every single page. This is not actually a page that's going to be going in my journal. This is here for example's sake. I actually was going to use this to make some embellishments. Okay, so what I like to do is I will fold this. Now this is, of course, assuming that you want to cut down all your pages. That may not be the case. If you have pages that are too long, you may want to make folders out of them. For example, you may want to make folios out of them and create like a little closure here. There's so many things that you can do for pages that are oversized. Sounds like a video we need to make, right? But in the meantime, for example, this page, assuming you just want to cut all of these pages down to fit in your journal, we are going to measure here. Okay, so assuming my spine sits, about here, this actually should fit no problem. Lengthwise, height-wise, we're obviously going to need to do some trimming. Okay, so get yourself a pen or a pencil. And I am just, no measuring needed really. I am just going to make a little mark right above the bottom of the spine. There's my mark. Y'all, if you don't have a paper cutter, you gotta get one. I'm telling you, I'm really trying to de-stash this year and not buy every little thing that I see, but of the tools that I couldn't live without, this paper cutter is one of them. Perfect. So now we have a template. Now we're going to sort through all of our different pages that we will be making our signatures out of, and we will be able to cut them down to size and know exactly what size pages can and will not be able to fit in our journal. In my journals, I like to include a wide assortment of papers. So I'm just going to show you a few different papers that I have chosen for this specific journal. First of all, I love to include printed pages. I am no jelly printing expert by any stretch, but I love including prints in my journals to spruce them up. These are some image transfers I did from a magazine. I'm loving the red, the pinks. So I'm going to include one of these in each signature. This was actually the Floral Blooms from the Jelly Print Extravaganza Wrapping Edition that we did a couple of weeks ago, and I will include the link to that above. You know, I think the image transferred okay, but you don't get any of the details inside the flowers. So I was going to come back in with some gelatos and fill these in. Just as an example, if you're not thrilled with the way your image transfer or your jelly print came out, there are a lot of things you can do to spruce it up and add interest. So I will be incorporating one of these in each of my signatures. Okay. Now, the next kinds, oh, and the other thing about printed pages, the other kind of pages I love to include, copy paper that you have sprayed distressed ink over stencils that you've stamped on. That's another great option. Okay, the next kinds of pages that I love to include, which again, one is going in each signature. This is out of a garden book. So each one of these signatures will be getting a book page. And these are all about roses, Victorian gardens, the art of rose printing. How cool, right? So again, a wide variety of pages to go in each signature, I think, is the way to go. At least that's what I love to do personally. Okay, the next kind of page I like to include, these are actually, I talked about this when I was showing you guys the jelly prints. It's hard to see because this is a very light mica spray. I don't know if you can see, but I placed some stencils over this and sprayed. This may have been one of the pages I actually used on the other side to pick the image up. That might be why it's so light. But these are stenciled and dyed papers. Love to include those. Speaking of dyeing, in each of the signatures, we will be getting a tea dyed page. Tea dye, coffee dye, dyeing with onion skin, beets, food coloring, spoiler alert. Each of these will be going in one of the signatures. The next page I found some pink food coloring, so I thought, well, how perfect with the Valentine's Day theme, right? Each of the signatures will be getting some plain writing paper, a sheet of vellum, so a specialty paper. Then we have our cardstock. I have some birds. I have some flowers. A lot of pink going on. Oops. One of these will be going in each signature. And then, of course, what would a Valentine's Day journal be without a doily? So another specialty paper. There will be a doily going in each signature. Okay, once you pick the theme of the journal and the pages that you're going to use, you should really think about how many pages you want to place in each signature. Like I said, you want to think about the purpose of the journal. If it's a writing journal, you probably want it to be able to lay flat. You may want to put in less pages. Then again, if it's not going to be heavily decorated, you will be able to include more pages in each signature because you're not going to be adding a lot of embellishments, which add a lot of bulk to the journal. You may be able to get away with 12, 14 pages, especially if you're using very light copy paper. Okay, if you're going to heavily embellish the journal, I would recommend maybe only putting in 8, 9, maybe 10 pages per signature. The other thing you want to think about is how many signatures you're going to put in the journal. if you have, let's say you have 100 pages, or let's say you have 50 pages, and you divide them up into 6 signatures, the pages are going to be much more tightly bound and look much more like a book, as opposed to splitting those 50 pages into 3 signatures. There's going to be kind of a lot of space between them. The book isn't going to be tightly bound. It's kind of just all the look that you're going for. For this Valentine's Day journal, I've decided that I want to include 4 signatures. And so I'm just going to lay my papers out and we will start arranging them. I personally like to include 1 page of every kind of general type in each signature. So they seem, to me, it kind of seems more balanced. Okay, so first we need to decide what our signature page is going to be, our initial first signature page. So I like to kind of keep the same theme for every signature for the first page, and that's kind of just a personal preference. But I have these decorative papers. They're very light cardstock. Bear with me. I tried to stack these all up, and it's like a leaning tower of Pisa over here. Here's another one. 3, and I know I had a 4th. Where'd you go? Well, we'll find it eventually. There was like a method in my madness. Oh well. Okay, so we'll figure this out. Oh, here it is. Da-da-da. So kind of polka dot stripes, parts. This is the same page as this. So I wanted a different page for each signature, but I wanted to keep the theme and the look pretty similar. Another thing, I highly recommend using a bone folder. You may not think it does much, but I'm telling you, it flattens the pages. It allows your book to be much more tightly bound together, and you definitely add space inside your journal. I'm telling you, do it. It's so easy. Okay, your signatures will just come together that much more nicely. Okay, all these, I cheated and cut down these pages before the video. So all of these pages are already cut to size. I'm a little out of frame here, so I'll show you guys each page before I add it and stick it in this far pile to the right. I have this beautiful cardstock. The theme is floral and butterflies. And actually, since the first signature page is pretty heavily decorated, I think I'm going to try and mute it with a plain page. This is the tea-dyed, really lightweight copy paper I have. So we're going to include one of these in each of our signatures. I hope you guys are doing well. I know it's early to be crafting. I guess it's never too early to be crafting for anything, but it seems early to be crafting for Valentine's Day. Like I said, I promise I'm not trying to shove another holiday down your throats. This truly was not intended to be a Valentine's Day journal. That's just what it became, and I'm sure you guys understand sometimes projects take on a life of their own. Okay, we have plain pages. So why don't we put in either a busy page. Let's put in our book pages. I love these. This is from, I don't know. I think it's something with maybe it's the Rose Garden, I think is the name of the book. But oh my gosh, how beautiful. Okay, so we had a busy page. Now let's put one of these lined pages next. Why? I don't know. That's just kind of what I'm feeling right now. Again, I like there to be a little bit of separation between the busy and written pages and the plain pages. I also think it gives the journal a nice pace, so to speak, because the plain pages I think I'm more likely to decorate, and so to have some heavily decorated pages followed by some blank pages followed by some writing pages, you know what I mean? It gives it a nice pace. I want to know, what are you guys doing for Junk Journal January? You have any fun projects you're working on? What are your New Year's resolutions for crafting, for life? What do you hope to accomplish this year? Drop a comment below, let me know. I love hearing from you guys. You guys really inspire me when I'm thinking about the kind of projects I'm going to do. Okay, we have the writing paper. Let's do this beautiful, heavily decorated cardstock I have. Okay, some butterflies. Put this in here. I think these pages are beautiful. The top ones came out of a Doodlebug kit. These are, I don't know what these are. They're just miscellaneous cardstock I got, I think, at Michael's. Okay, last one. I thought the birds were beautiful. Birds and roses. Okay, let's go back to a plain page. Why don't we put some vellum in there? I love this shimmery vellum. Okay, let's do, I think we should do, since we're getting all fancy with the vellum, why don't we throw in our jelly prints next. I'm trying to decide what I think might go best with which. Why? I don't know. That's just kind of what my gut instinct is telling me to do. Let's get these light stencil outside sprayed images in, or pages in, and then I think last will be the pink food coloring pages with the doily over it. I think the contrast will be primo. I'm looking at this one. I can tell you this is a mica sprayed jelly, or sorry, not jelly, hot glue gun stencil I made. Kind of weird, kind of cool, right? Pretty abstract. Okay, so let's just do a quick flip through of our signature. We're just gonna look through one of these. I like how the pages fit together. I think there's separation between them. I think there's a good assortment of pages. And let's see, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pages in each signature. I think that's a good amount, especially knowing that we have 4 signatures and I'm probably going to decorate this pretty heavily. If I wouldn't have had so many thin pages, like the thin cardstock, book page, doily, and this writing paper, I actually may have included less pages. Okay, perfect. So most importantly, before you bind your signatures in, make sure you take care of any sewing that you want to do ahead of time. Since this is a Valentine's Day journal, I will definitely be putting some lace and sewing some pages in here. So I'm going to do that quick and then we will come back and we will bind these in. Today I'm going to be using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Okay, so I have finished sewing in each of these. Let me just give you a quick flip through of one of them. I've made some little tabs with a heart button on top, a lace flip over, the vellum, the pockets are stitched, more little page tabs. And then on the back of one of the cardstocks, I have a butterfly applique on each one. So, yeah, some sewing, and I'll be sewing some of the embellishments as well. But we are ready to bind these into our journal. Okay, so all you'll need to make the marks on our spine is a ruler and a pen. For this, I'm using tweezers because I don't think a pen is going to show up well on here. So instead, I'll just make a little perforation. Okay. So, what I do is I will make, we have 4 signatures, so we need 4 holes. This is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And then what I do is, I don't want to risk misidentifying what's the top and the bottom. So the top row will be close and the bottom, this is just how I personally keep track. I always leave a lot of room between the bottom of the spine and the last hole. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. So let's make 4 holes. So what I do is I'm going to, and this allows you to do the least measuring possible. So I'm going to make a hole at 1/4 of an inch, so 1/4, 1 3/4, 1 1/4, and 1 3/4. Okay, so normally I would make all of my holes before I start punching, but because this is so hard to see, it'll be easier for me if I have large holes to look at, just in case I forget exactly where I measured. Okay, so I always, this is the Crocodile 2. The best way to do this is to come in from the side, so I'm looking straight on like that. Okay, perfect. So now I have my holes. So you may be asking, why did I choose those measurements, by the way? Well, just because that looked about where the holes would be equidistant apart. Okay, the other thing you can do if you have a like dark spine or something glittery like this where it's hard to see pen marks, get yourself a white Sharpie. I just don't have one at hand right now. Okay. Where you create your second line of holes is totally up to you. I think about here is, no, about middle. Okay, so now I'm gonna make marks in going along at the same measurements we did before. So we're gonna make a perforation here at 1/4 inch. 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/4, and 1 3/4. Okay, remember I told you that I leave more space at the bottom than the top, just so if I get flipped around, I know, oh, there's only a narrow space here and a large space here, then I know that's the top, that's the bottom. So, here we go. Same thing, this is our last line of holes we have to make. 1/4 inch, 3/4 of an inch, 1 1/4, and 1 3/4. Okay, time to make the second 2 lines of holes. All right, so now we have our 3 lines of holes. What you want to do is grab some cording or some really thick embroidery floss, and that's what we're going to be using to bind in our signatures. So here I have some embroidery floss. I think this will be thick enough and durable enough. Oh, forgot a part. Okay, now we actually, before we can bind, we have to make these same holes in the in our signatures that will correspond with the holes we made here. Okay. get a pencil or a pen and you just want to line this up. I think I determined this was going to be signature number 1. Make sure you are looking at your signature pages and know which way is up. You laugh, but I have done that before and it really sucks. Because then not only do you have to re-sew or re-stitch them in, but now you have 2 sets of holes. Okay, make a tiny little mark right next to the hole. Okay, now you want to get 2 handy dandy paper clips. I love these jumbo paper clips. They work fantastically. Make sure your signatures are exactly where you want them. These pages are pretty much all the same height, but if you have like a small tag, make sure it's either, if you want it here, put it there. If you want it here, put it there. Just make sure that it's going to cover at least one area we're going to be punching so that you are able to bind it in. Like, you wouldn't want to put a small tag, for example, if we're punching a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, and that's how we're going to be securing it. You wouldn't want to put a tag over here. It's not going to get bound in the journal. Alright, make sure everything's just the way I like it. Okay, move the doily up just a little bit. Okay. Alright, we're going to fasten our paper clips. Oh my gosh, these are the best. These jumbo paper clips, the best. Okay, we are going to go back to our hole puncher and punch a hole over each one of those dots. Again, it's much easier if you're looking at it from the side. That way you can still see the hole up until the point that the puncher makes contact with the paper. Okay, get out your cording or your embroidery floss. You're going to want a needle. A large needle is best. That way you can see what you're doing, which is always a good thing. And you're going to take your cording and you're going to measure out 1, 2, 3. Okay, that should get you enough cording to bind these in. Leave a little bit extra if you want to attach a charm at the bottom of each of the signatures, which I love doing that. All right, put this through. Sometimes people secure this with a knot. I don't. I just give myself a good tail and usually it stays put just fine. Okay, 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Here we go. So easy. Get your spine. Make sure you know what's top, what's bottom. You're gonna go in through the middle and then in through the middle of the spine. Okay, pull it through. Then from the back, you're gonna go up through the back into the signature. Pull it out. Then we're gonna go out through the last hole and out here. So it looks just like that. And then we're gonna go back in that second hole and in through the second hole of your signature. Pull it taut and you can take this off. Now we're gonna tie. Make sure that it's nice and taut, okay? Nice and taut. You want your 2 ties here to be, you want your cording attaching the signatures to be in between the two ties. Okay, so we're gonna do right over left, right over left, come on through, tie it down, left over right, tie it down. Usually I'll do it 2 or 3 times. Right over left, and then left over right, beautiful. I'm gonna leave these hanging. Obviously you can trim these down right at the knot if you want. I'm gonna leave some hanging because I think I want to put some charms in here. Okay, so we got our first signature in. That was so easy, right? Okay, now we can take off our paper clips. And now we're gonna do the exact same thing for the rest of our signatures. Okay, we have all of our signatures bound into the spine. Pretty cool, right? And actually, even though we're doing a hidden spine in this journal, I think it would be really cool to do an exposed spine too, because this is what you'd be seeing, these pink threads. Okay, so we have everything bound in. I am loving the way this looks. My favorite way to get signatures into a spine is to simply glue them in. Okay, so what you want to do is take your glue. It's got to be a really good strong glue. just completely coat your spine. Try avoiding the holes because if glue seeps through, it could seep through into the paper and kind of make the pages stick together. Okay, so avoid the holes. Be very generous with the glue. This is not a place to be stingy. Okay, now I want you to grab your journal, put that spine straight down, making sure you avoid the fold where your journal is going to open and close. Okay, make sure you get in there. Make sure you're able to open and close. Same thing with the closure in the back. Okay, if you can easily open and close the journal, I want you to flip about halfway through, and once you find that halfway mark, I want you to take one of those jumbo paper clips, and I want you to make sure you're centered, nice and centered. I feel like I'm off center for some reason. There we go. Okay. And if you're happy with your placement, which I'm checking over right now, once you're happy with that placement, I want you to take a big paper clip and clip the entire signature to the cover. There we go, there's the middle. Alright, you want to paper clip that, just like that. Get the other one and do the same for the front half. Okay, you want to make sure there are no strings or anything sitting in the glue, because the glue may seep a little bit from the top and the bottom of the spine. Okay. And though I know it's tempting, I want you to leave it just like this. Do not play around with it. Don't mess with it. Don't fuss with it. Let it lay here just like this. And you can even put something heavy on top if you want. And this will help ensure that this spine is nice and tacked down to the journal. We got our signatures in, baby. Love it. We are well on our way to decorating and finishing this Valentine's, which was not supposed to be a Valentine's Day journal. Thank you so much for coming along with me today. I really enjoyed this and I'm loving how this is going. My videos come out on Mondays and Fridays. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.